Hi, I'm DJ with Kite Paddle Surf here in Bellingham, Washington. And I'm here to kind of get you an introductory video on how to both learn wing foiling and kind of just the very entry basics of what I'll need to progress into the sport. So one of the main things is obviously to be comfortable in the water. You've established that. Really the best way to start using the wing is to have kind of a small to medium-sized wing, you know, kind of in that 3 to 4 meter range if you have access to one, and then practice it at a windy park. You know, learn how to inflate it, how to kind of flip it around, and how to use it. And then, you know, with either hand or both hands, you know, on the handle, just learn to get some power out of the wing, how to drop it, you know, how to pick it back up, and feel what positions of the wing work and what simply kind of naturally pulls you down. You know, in about a half hour to an hour of kind of land use, you'll kind of start to get comfortable with the wing, and that's where we'd recommend the first time on the water that you go with a paddleboard. And really with the paddleboard, what helps a ton is to have a pretty high volume, easy to use paddleboard. And then what you can add to your paddleboard if you have one is what's called the Supwinder from Slingshot. And it's basically just a 12 or 14 inch dagger board with a self-adhesive plate that sticks onto the bottom of the board. And it fits in kind of a middle position, maybe slightly back of center on that board. And what that allows you to do is not just slide downwind once you gain traction from that wing. It'll actually grip the water, and even with very little skill, especially in your coordinated direction, you'll pretty quickly be riding upwind. In a lesson scenario when we do this, that's really our first wind lesson, is an introduction on land, you know, a little bit of time with the wing, just kind of getting oriented to the handles, how and where to hold it, because some of it's not super intuitive, but pretty quickly, just by feeling it, you can kind of work your way through the basics. But that first time on the water, what you'll want to do is just basically get on the board onto your knees, get the wing into position, and on your knees, just start to ride with the wing to the left, and then try it to the right. Once you're comfortable with that, then try getting to the standing position. Same thing, moving in either direction with just a little bit of forward speed. And if possible, try and learn what across the wind is going to feel like as you move across the wind, so you're not going straight back probably to the beach. Progressing from there, in that second lesson would be learning to use a foil. Generally the easiest way that we've found is some way to tow it. So behind a boat, a jet ski. We use a jet ski to teach that first foil lesson, just so you get a very simple, easy kind of session with what a foil feels like as it first begins to fly. A lot of people tend to go onto their back foot from other board sports. That's really common. And what that does with a foil, it creates a climbing angle, and the foil comes up, and you only have a little bit of room, especially as a beginner, before that wing actually comes out of the water, which automatically causes a crash as a beginner. Once you've gotten a little bit of time with a foil, and then also using a wing, kind of just in the very moderate winds, would be maybe a third session, or for us, that would be that third lesson where we combine the wing set with the foil set in a very easy to use wing foil board. What you're looking for in that first foil board in your lesson or for your own use is a pretty high volume board. In another video, we can help you calculate, you know, how big of a board to go with. As you're starting, what you'll use in a lesson or for purchase after those lessons, you're going to want to use a very easy to use stable foil. In general, that's going to have a pretty high surface area number. So something like this one right here is 1850. That's the surface area of this front wing. That number kind of gives us a general idea of how much lift it's going to generate. Another feature that you would look for in your beginner wing, or your beginner foil wing, is the shape. In general, what you'll see in a beginner's front foil wing is it's going to be pretty big this way. That dimension is called the chord, and that thickness, this dimension right here, is really what gives us some what's called pitch stability, so that when we do get the foil to fly, you know, it doesn't just wobble. If you start to feel a little bit of wobble, in general, that foil needs a little bit more speed. And for a beginner, that's a pretty difficult thing to ask. So if you go with a very easy to use foil, it's pretty much going to generate lift. You're going to fly off the water, which is an amazing sensation. And then you're just going to be able to stay there. So that's kind of the basics of, you know, where to start with and how to get into wing foiling. If you have questions for us, please give us a call, send us an email, or chat with us live. Please give us a like on this video and subscribe to our channel.